Hey y'all, it's the annoying person again. So I have two stories to share with you. One is a paranormal one and my backstory with the paranormal. And I think I might save my shopping trip story tomorrow. Well, it's not really a story, I just gotta say that it's disappointing. Just a disappointing shopping day. I didn't get whatever I wanted to. I got one thing that wasn't even needed. I got an ice cream magic, and I might make that for you guys tomorrow. So you guys, if you have not tried it yet, we'll see if it really works. Because, it's as seen on TV. Anyway, before I get with my paranormal video, I'm torn between what shirt I should wear. My gator grabbing, sweet tea sipping, extra sassy, so I'm feeling member shirt, or my camo one. My swamp family number one. I wore this one to school already, and it's really big. And I haven't worn this one yet, so I'm thinking about wearing this one. Many choices. Anyway, so enough with the shopping trip, it's gone. But just very, very boring, very, very disappointing shopping day. Got no fabric for my blankets, didn't do anything. This is the blanket that I made for myself, but giving it to my dad because he wants it so bad. Where did you see that white thing that came down? Anyway, so last Friday, today's Wednesday, I forgot to make a video about it. I actually forgot all about it until now. So this is called my paranormal vlog, as seen down below. So my backstory, people are always asking me this at school. Not at school, I can't remember where. I think I was with my grandma this one time, and they asked, there was these kids there, and I was just telling them ghost stories, and they were like, do you know about the paranormal, this and this and that. So, people were always, past tense, were always asking me this, my backstory with the paranormal. I honestly can't say when it started, but I can remember my first paranormal experience. I was with my dad, my biological father, at his old house, and there was his house, what I would like to believe was haunted, just because of all the stuff that I experienced there, and what this girl and her mom caught on camera at that house, what things happened at that house was just really, really weird, and it's just unexplainable. So at this old house, it wasn't very old, but it was old. These old couple used to live there before the previous owners bought the house. So these old couple moved in, the previous owners moved in, and then we moved in. Well, when you're that young, you can't remember, but I don't even think I had a paranormal experience until I can remember now. But my first actual paranormal experience that I can remember was when, oh god, I have a couple of them on one night. No. I gotta think of which one's first. Oh, okay, never mind. So, this one time I was laying in my bed, in my room. My room, I can't even explain this. Hold on. Okay, so my art skills aren't the best. You could tell by my art haul. I still have not gotten any of my previous art back. Sorry about that. I told you I'd make another one. But, so I put my art skills to work to make you this. Okay. Okay. So, here's the door where you walk in it, and here's the breezeway, and there's a door right here that goes into the garage. We don't need to look at this. This is no longer needed. No longer in need. Okay. So when you walk into the breezeway, there's a door right here, and then the counter is right by the door. And then you walk straight, and here's the table. And then the basement's right here, right by my brother Derek's room. This is my room, the bathroom, and then my father's room. And then here's the living room. There's a wall, like, right here. Right here. Okay, so my room is like the wall next to the kitchen. And so my brother moved out by this time. And it was just me and my father in the house. Okay. So one night he was asleep, and I usually like went out in the living room to watch The Big Bang Theory or whatever, was because we didn't have any TV because it was way too expensive, and my dad couldn't really support us if we had the TV because it was he didn't have that much money. He was poor. We almost lost the house a couple times, and yada yada yada. Anyway, I was laying in bed this one time, just got into bed. I went to bed at like maybe 11 o'clock. So I woke up around 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere around there. I was dead asleep. And all of a sudden, I hear something out in the kitchen. I'm like, okay, it's my dad. And I wasn't too worried about it. I wasn't even thinking of it. But then, I hear, like, I didn't hear any footsteps. I didn't hear anything. I just heard, like, a glass sliding on the countertop where the sink was. And that night before I went to bed, I had done the dishes. So the dishes were laying out on a rag or a towel, drying. And there was, like, a whole bunch of glasses, because that's what that family over there would always do, always drink. I'd barely eat, but always drink. So there was, like, a lot of glasses. And all of a sudden I hear, like, I got up, dead asleep, woke up, heard someone in the kitchen, thought it was my dad. Heard a glass, like, slide back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on the kitchen. And the walls are, like, paper thin, so I'm gonna hear this. Next morning I get up and my dad's, I think he was in the living room. He was just watching his favorite show, Charmed, that we had on DVD. Or no, we didn't even have that movie at the time. I don't know what movie or whatever he was watching. I'm like, what were you doing up last night at like 3 o'clock or 2 or whatever? And he's like, what do you mean? I wasn't up. I'm like, yeah, you were. I heard you in the kitchen. You're doing something with your glass or something. What were you doing? And he's like, I was asleep. I was like, no, I heard you in the kitchen. He's like, Nicole, I was asleep. I just got up like 15 minutes ago. I was like, oh. My brother was in the house. My dad was supposed to be sleeping. And my dad, like, when he says, my dad don't lie. My dad's my father was a very honest person. This and that. So then, that night, no, this is my second paranormal experience. This was like the mild ones. Like, they weren't that bad at all. So, that night, my brother lives up in Eau Claire at this time. Now he lives back with our father up in Barron because he moved. My father moved. And this time, my brother was living up in Eau Claire with his mother because my father and him were not getting along. So me and my brother were texting that night, or the night, either the weekend after, the next day, or something, or that night, or something like that. I can't quite remember, but we were texting. He's like, hey, I might be coming up. And I'm like, okay. So I was all excited because me and my brother, we'd always go fishing. We'd always go out to Walmart, stay out late, do whatever. It was fun. We always hang out with my cousin. It was just really, really fun. So I was getting all pumped up and excited, and I went to bed that night expecting him to come in the morning. Now my brother had to work that night, and he usually, whenever he would get off of work and come up and see me, he'd get home at like 3 o'clock and jump on my bed and just smother me with a pillow, and he'd just be like, "Come on, Nicole, let's get up, come on, let's go," and I'm sleeping. I'm like, "No, you can wait." Well, that night he didn't do it. I thought he was gonna come that morning, and I thought he was like gonna go hang out with his friends after work for a while, and then come up and see me and hang out for a bit, and then he'd go to sleep. Well, he didn't come in my room at 3 o'clock in the morning to come wake me up and bounce on my bed and scream in my ear. So I got up 8:30. No, got up at 8:25, something like that. Like, got up at 8:23, 8 something, and I was just laying in bed like, I wonder if Derek's here, like, what are we gonna do today? And all of a sudden, I looked at the clock, and it turned 8:30, and right as it turned 8:30, I hear, like, a banging on my door. Now, that's another thing that my brother would do to wake me up, just like, bang, 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 like, really, really loud, just to wake me up. And so I'm like, oh my god, Derek's here. He's waking me up. I'm like, yeah, I'm up. Just let me get dressed really quick. Open the door. No one's there. Go out and check outside. Because the patio door in the kitchen, you can see like right where the driveway is. His truck wasn't there. I'm like, dang it. Must have been my dad trying to trick me or something. Go in my dad's room. He's like conked out. He's asleep. Like he's snoring. Like, it's not like a fake snore, like, he's actually been snoring. And I'm like, Dad! And he's like, what? I'm like, did you just not bang on my door? And he's like, no, did you not see me just sleeping here? I'm like, no, yes, I did, but did you seriously, like, get up and bang on my door? Or were you playing a joke on me? And I was just scared, like, oh my god, it was you. And I'm like, I caught you in your act, and this is, like, the second time you did this to me. And he's like, Nicole, it was not me. You were just dreaming. I'm like, Dad, I was sitting there for about 5 to 10 minutes just thinking about the things that I would be able to do with Derek. He's like, Nicole, I didn't do it. You're dreaming. And I'm like, Dad, that was not a dream. And he goes on to tell me, he's like, yes, it was, because I've had dreams like that too, where I think it's real. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, this one time I was laying in bed. I thought I was awake, but maybe I wasn't. And I was like, okay, this is getting kind of scary, because he thought he was, just like, things that I was freaked out by this point, like, there's something in my house when he told me this. He had a dream that someone was standing at the edge of his bed, going like this, saying, wake up, like, in his ear, and it was just, like, yelling at him, wake up. I was like, oh. So, like, on the edge of the bed, like, right here, like, going like this, saying, wake up, in his face. And I was like, Dad, this is not right. So then, this was like at the time where when I would stay home alone, I'd hear knocking noises, I'd hear just something like in the kitchen, I'm like, there's nothing there. I'd hear and it's at the point where I had no animals, I didn't have my cat yet, so no one was there to keep me company, I was all alone, and I heard knocking, and I'm like, that's just the house settling. I heard just whole bunch of things just going on, and I'm like, houses don't settle like that. So it was just like maybe like footsteps sounding, I don't know. And this one time my friend Ariel was over. Her mom had lost her purse, so we were like scouring, Barron, all over for it. We were scouring my house for it, and all of a sudden, because Jody, she's kind of like a psychic or whatever, she sees the dead. She's like, there's something here. And I was like, what? She's like, and this was like the point, this was around Halloween, and my dad had all his decorations up, and he made like this fake dummy, like it was a full-size human fake dummy or whatever. And she walks through the door, and she's like, and she's like, she's like, that's scary. That's scary. I thought that was real. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And so that night, she's like, when I got scared when I walked through the door? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I didn't actually think that that was human. I saw something sitting in its lap. I was like, oh my god. So when she walked into the door that morning, before she lost her wallet to go pick me and Ariel up so I could go over to Ariel's house after Ariel came over to my house, uh, Jody saw something sitting in the dummy's lap because my dad had it sitting on a chair. Sorry, I've been choking all day. So, that night, we were all in my house looking for it. The TV was off, only a couple lights were on. And Jody's like, okay, I have like this really heavy, bad feeling. And I was like, oh god, okay. And so my dad has like a whole bunch of antiques in his house, and something can't attach itself to antiques because it's like really, really old, and something could have been valuable, and just la-di-la-di-da. And so she was looking at this antique lamp that my dad had. And all of a sudden she's like, Nicole, get your camera. And I was like, what? She's like, get your camera. I think there's something behind me. And I was like, what? She's like, get your camera. There's something behind me. So I gave my camera, turn the flash on, take a picture, and no shit, like, I would show you the picture, but my camera's dead and I don't have any batteries for it. There was like a face in the back with horns. It was bad. Like, I was like, oh my god. So we had that. And then me and Arrow at the point where we don't want to be here anymore. I want to go to your house. I don't feel safe. But Jordy's like, no, this is freaking cool. And she was like sitting there praying, like, if you were the one who stole my wallet, please give it to me. Now this is like the scariest paranormal experience. She's like, this is not funny. Please give me back my wallet. It has so many things in there. Please give it back. Well, me and Ariel were walking out into the breezeway. This part right here where the door was, we were walking out. We were all in the living room where we saw the face. And we were walking out, and all of a sudden, like, the moment that I was sitting there watching her, like, she was sitting there praying, like, I gotta do this alone, please leave. So we walked out into the breezeway, and she's sitting there praying, and I was sitting there watching her. The moment that I looked down, and she was sitting there like this, like her back towards us. And I was sitting there watching her like, what's she saying? What's she saying? And the moment that I looked down to put my shoes on because we were getting ready to go, I hear like a big thud, like boom, thud, like things rattling. And I'm like, what was that? And Jody came all shaking, and she's like, we need to leave. We need to go. And I'm like, wait, that light's on back there. And she's like, I can't go. I'm like, what happened? She's like, after I got done saying a prayer, I was walking back out here, and something pushed me, like Flowbone pushed me out of this, and she tripped over herself, like she's like, ugh. I'm like, you're shitting me, right? And she's like, no, something pushed me. I felt two hands push me, and I was like, well, we gotta turn that light off. And she's like, I'll go, because I don't want you guys getting hurt. She walks back slowly, shaking. She's like, turns off the light, and starts walking out slowly. Yeah. And so I'm kind of that way too. I can sense things that other people can't. Like, say if I'm somewhere, like in a cemetery or something, and there's a ghost present, I can feel like their emotions. So if they're sad, I have like the feeling of dread or sadness. If they're happy, then I feel like happy. I can also like sense if it's a boy or a girl. Like, during this whole period when I was living in the house, the whole thing can be like demon man. And in the picture, it was like a horn and it was a guy. So I can like sense those things. And this last Friday when I was babysitting, this is the story I forgot to tell you guys. I was gonna vlog about it, but I forgot to tell you. So far, this whole thing might not be making sense to you because I stumble over my words sometimes. I jumble them up like to where you can't understand me. I have like a speech problem, I think, so excuse me. So last Friday when I was babysitting Addison and Avery, like I always do, like pretty much every other Friday or every other 3 weeks. I put them to bed. They were tired. They were out right away. And I was flipping through the channels and my ghost stories were on, so of course I'm going to watch them. All of a sudden, I feel like the sense of a presence, like a human presence behind me. And the first thing came to mind, like, man, just old, just a man, yet not a young man, but not an old man, but a man. That's just a man. Like, not specifically an age, but just like a man, like an old man, like an older man. That's what I mean. And all of a sudden, I see like this white thing behind me. I turn around, and right as I see it, it disappears. It was this old guy in the window looking at me. And right as I see it, it disappeared. He disappeared. Now, it wasn't like physical features. It was like a white mass with a face in it. Like instead of like seeing like this kind of face, it was like pure white with like black outlining his physical features. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I was like, okay, it's fine. Just keep calm. Your parents should be here soon. I was about to go and sleep with Avery for a little bit. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And all of a sudden, I was watching my ghost stories again. And about 15 minutes later, I feel it again behind me. I look back, and the same thing happened. I'm like, okay, this is weird. I can't. This is just so overwhelming. By the time I was like, I can't. I feel so uncomfortable. Like, I don't, like, it still, like, freaks me out. Like, I have not been with this. I have not had this thing very long. It's been about maybe 2 years, and it still kind of freaks me out when I can see, feel, just all these things. And if you are this way too, it's a scary feeling until you get used to it. And this other time, I forgot to tell you guys this, step back to when I was living at my dad's. I was laying on the couch just one night, and all of a sudden I hear, like, running up and down on the ceiling. And it was just, like, because I have, like, this crawl space. It's not an attic. It's a crawl space that you get up from the basement. It's like you walk in the basement, like, on the ceiling, and there's, like, a square to get up on the crawl space. There was, like, running. Like, someone was running or something was running back and forth in the crawl space. I was like, just go to sleep. Ignore it. Go to sleep. I don't know what to do. So then when this happened, I was freaked out. I'm like, no, I got this second time. I don't feel comfortable with this. It's still freaking me out. Call my dad. I'm like, where are you? He's like, they're still at work. Or they're gonna be home soon, then I'll be on my way. I'm like, okay. So that was like the last time I saw the guy. It was it was cool, but yet scary at the same time. It was just, I don't know. I don't know if they don't have a grandpa that died, and he looked like an old man, so maybe it was just someone passing through, just looking to be noticed. I don't know. But that was like it wasn't scary, it was kind of freaky, like, not creepy, it was kind of freaky, like, surprising. There's the word. What?
You got any of that red tissue?
Sorry, my mom was calling me. So yeah, that's like my ghost story. And there's like, I have another one. It never posted. It was about my grandma and how Jody helped me contact her and stuff like that. Like, I was singing. My grandma never heard me sing before. Jody's like, turn around and smile. Like, who, why, what, where, and just like, no, your grandma's right there. I was like, oh my god. And my grandma told Jody things that no one ever knew about. Like, she told me about how my dad talked to the priests and what was said. I'm like, no one was there but my dad and the priest talking, because it was at the end of the service. And I was with my friends, and my brother was with his friends, and my grandpa and all my family was gone, so it was only me, Ariel, India, Derek, and David, and we were all hanging out, and I just saw my dad talking to the pastor. I didn't know what was said, and here comes Jody saying the things, what was said, and then later, my dad told me. My dad has told me, like, what was all said, and it was, like, the exact thing what Jody said. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So yeah, that's like my ghost story in my past. My grandma died just this last January. A while ago, she died of lung cancer. It spread to her back, and she kind of gave up at that point. But she did live 3 years than the doctors expected her to. So yeah, my grandma was a very strong woman. So if you guys would like another paranormal vlog, comment down below, like or whatever. Don't like it, thumbs down it if you thought, wow, this is totally out there, I don't believe you, or that's so stupid. More scary stories. I would be happy to tell you a couple scary stories, because I do have a lot. And they're not necessarily true, but I just know, well, they're not necessarily, they're not, they're true, just things that haven't happened to me. Like, they're just things that has happened to other people. Like, like, the Bloody Mary story, if you guys have never heard of where Bloody Mary has actually come from. I know that story. I'm just totally interested in the paranormal. So I will pretty much know every single, like, I can't remember what his name is. Jeff the Killer, I think his name is. I know that story behind it. So yeah, it's just, yeah, so if you would like another paranormal vlog or a scary story vlog, I'd be happy to tell you guys, because I am full of them. I'm always scaring my brother with them, and he's an easy kid to scare, but I can also scare my friends with them too. I even scared my older brother with one, and that's one I would probably never I'd never tell again, because it scares me, it freaks me out just saying that, because I think it's true. I don't know if it's necessarily true, but I think it is true. So yeah, so once again, comment down below if you want one, like if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't, push that button down below and give an alligator its wangs. Just kidding, don't give an alligator its wangs. That ain't my channel. Yeah, I'd be happy to start an actual vlog. Like, I can make my channel all about paranormal, if you guys really want me to, or some thrift hauls, some hauls from other stores, because me and my friends are gonna go thrifting soon. Can't wait. Gonna go shopping soon. I'm gonna have like a Christmas haul, like what all I got for Christmas. Not bragging, just saying, like a whole bunch of people do. It's like, why not just share it with everyone? So yeah, love you guys. Bye. Never, ever stops. Ugh.